Imagine traveling across the world, full of excitement, chasing adventure, and eager to explore new places and meet new people. Now imagine that trip ending in the most horrific way possible, in a hotel room, far away from home, with a life cut short by someone you had just met. This is the story of Grace Millane, a young woman whose dream trip turned into a global headline for all the wrong reasons. What happened inside room 308 of a New Zealand hotel is not just a tragic crime. It's a chilling reminder of trust, vulnerability, and the dangers that can lurk behind carefully constructed lies. Grace Emmy Rose Millane was born in 1996 in Essex, England. The youngest of three with two older brothers, she was described by everyone as warm, artistic, and deeply caring. Her family was close-knit, and Grace was the kind of daughter who was constantly connected, calling, messaging, and updating her loved ones about every part of her life. She studied advertising and marketing at the University of Lincoln and graduated in 2018. Before diving into her career, Grace wanted to see the world. She saved money, cut her long hair to donate for cancer patients, and began a year-long solo backpacking trip. Her journey took her through South America and eventually to New Zealand. On November 19, 2018, Grace arrived in Auckland. She checked into a hostel full of plans to meet new people, enjoy the city, and celebrate her upcoming 22nd birthday. On December 1st, just hours before her 22nd birthday, Grace arranged to meet someone she had matched with on Tinder. His name was Jesse Kempson, a 26-year-old man who presented himself as charming, successful, and confident. On the surface, he seemed like an ordinary match, a chance for Grace to enjoy her birthday eve with someone new in Auckland. That evening, Grace dressed in a simple but elegant black dress and white sneakers. She wanted to be comfortable but also look nice for her night out. She met Jesse at Sky City, one of Auckland's busiest entertainment hubs, full of bright lights, bars, and late-night crowds. CCTV cameras captured the two together, chatting, laughing, moving between bars, and sharing drinks. Grace even messaged a close friend back in the UK, saying she felt they clicked. For her, it was a sign of optimism, proof that even while traveling alone, she could meet interesting people and feel connected. But beneath Jesse's polished exterior was a disturbing reality. He was not the man he pretended to be. Jesse Kempson was a compulsive liar, a manipulator who fabricated stories to impress and control people. He told friends and acquaintances that he worked in media, that he owned properties, that he came from wealth, but none of it was true. Former partners described him as manipulative and controlling, and landlords recalled his dishonesty and deceit. For Grace, this was meant to be a fun, carefree night before her birthday. For Jesse, it was something far darker, an opportunity to feed his desires and fantasies. As the night went on, the two left Sky City and made their way toward Jesse's hotel, the City Life in downtown Auckland. CCTV footage showed them entering the lobby and stepping into the lift together. They appeared relaxed, chatting casually. But as the lift doors closed, Grace unknowingly walked into the final chapter of her life. Room 308 would become the place where her story ended. According to Jesse's later statements, what happened inside was consensual. He told police that Grace had asked for rough sex and referenced 50 Shades of Grey. He insisted her death was a tragic accident, that things had gone too far. But forensic experts and investigators painted a very different picture. Grace had been strangled. The force applied to her neck lasted between 4 and 5 minutes, far longer than an accidental loss of control. Experts explained that once Grace lost consciousness, Jesse would have known immediately that she was unresponsive. Yet the pressure continued. 4 to 5 minutes is not a momentary lapse. It's a deliberate act. And when Grace's body lay lifeless, Jesse did not call for help. He did not panic and dial emergency services. Instead, he began to think about himself, his future, his freedom, and how to cover his tracks. The next day, December 2nd, should have been a celebration. Grace's 22nd birthday, her family in England sent messages, prepared to hear about her big day abroad, and waited for her to reply. But their daughter, who always responded quickly and stayed in touch, remained silent. Both of her phones went straight to voicemail. No calls, no messages, no updates on social media. For Grace's father, David, alarm bells rang instantly. He later said it was completely out of character for his daughter not to check in. Within hours, the Millane family knew something was terribly wrong. They contacted police in New Zealand, who quickly launched a missing persons investigation. At first, authorities considered whether she had gone off with new friends, maybe traveling or celebrating her birthday. But those hopes collapsed when investigators searched her hostel. Her belongings, clothes, makeup, and both passports were still there. Grace had not left for another adventure. She had vanished. The key breakthrough came when police began reviewing hours of CCTV footage from Auckland's busy nightlife districts. Grace was last seen on camera walking into the City Life Hotel with Jesse Kempson, and she never walked out. Police quickly tracked Jesse down and brought him in for questioning. His first story was simple. They met for drinks, ended the night with a kiss on the cheek, and went their separate ways. But the surveillance cameras told a different story. Grace had gone into his hotel with him and never came out. Over the next few days, Jesse's behavior raised even more suspicion. CCTV caught him buying cleaning supplies, a suitcase, and eventually a shovel. He rented a car, loaded the suitcase into it, and drove out of the city. Later, he was seen power washing the rental car before returning it. It was clear he was covering his tracks. On December 9, 2018, police found Grace's body in a wooded area near the Waitakere Ranges, hidden inside a suitcase. The discovery shattered all remaining hope. Forensic evidence from the hotel room tied everything together. Grace's blood, traces of cleanup, and Jesse's digital history. Investigators revealed that in the hours after her death, Jesse had searched online for disturbing topics, browsed adult content, and even taken intimate photographs of Grace's lifeless body. To the world, this was no accident. It was a deliberate act of violence. In November 2019, Jesse Kempson went to trial for the murder of Grace Millane. His defense argued that her death was a tragic accident during consensual rough sex. They attempted to paint Grace's private life as reckless, suggesting she had a history of such encounters. But the prosecution tore that argument apart. Medical experts testified that the level of force used was far beyond consensual. The bruises on her arms and chest showed she had been restrained. And Jesse's calm, calculated cover-up, buying cleaning products, disposing of the body, proved this was no accident. After just 5 hours of jury deliberation, the verdict was unanimous: guilty of murder. Jesse Kempson was sentenced to life in prison with a minimum of 17 years before parole. During sentencing, the judge noted Jesse's total physical dominance over Grace and his lack of remorse. Grace's parents gave heartbreaking statements. Her mother, Jillian, said, "I torment myself over what you did to my Grace, the terror and pain she must have experienced at your hands. She died terrified and alone in a room with you." Her father, David, who had flown to New Zealand during the investigation, later passed away in 2020 after a battle with cancer. Many said the grief of losing his daughter had broken him. The case sparked global outrage, not just because of the crime itself, but because of how Grace was portrayed during the trial. Many criticized the defense for shaming her, calling it an example of victim blaming in its most grotesque form. Grace's death led to tributes across New Zealand. Vigils were held and Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern publicly apologized to the Millane family, saying, "Your daughter should have been safe here, and she wasn't. I'm so sorry." In Grace's honor, her family launched the Love Grace campaign, collecting handbags filled with essentials for women escaping abuse. They also supported the White Ribbon campaign, dedicated to ending male violence against women. Grace's memory lives on, not just in the hearts of her loved ones, but in the global movement sparked by her story. The story of Grace Millane is a reminder of the dangers that can hide behind a smiling face or a charming profile. She was a young woman with dreams, compassion, and endless potential, whose life was stolen in the cruelest way. Grace's legacy is one of love, not violence. Her family's efforts ensure that her name will forever stand for protection, awareness, and change. If you found this case as moving and heartbreaking as we did, don't forget to like this video, share it with others, And subscribe for more true crime stories told with the respect the victims deserve. And let us know in the comments, what lessons do you think the world should take away from the tragedy of Grace Millane?